Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, and it is time for another episode of Unpopular Opinions, my weekly show where I break down all of the top Bravo moments and news of the week, and yes, give my opinions on them all.
That's my opinion!
It is safe to say that right now, Bravo and Peacock are keeping us fed. I mean, we've got Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Southern Charm, Southern Hospitality, Summer House, Traitors. I don't know about you, but I am booked and I am busy. I mean, let's just call it what it is. We're in the golden age of television right now, and we have Bravo and Peacock to thank for that. And there's a lot going on these shows, but there's also a lot going on in the news, guys. We have new details surrounding Karen's DUI conviction. We've got New Jersey casting news, and we've got some Southern Charm tea coming out of TikTok and Shep's response to Sienna's claims. There's a lot going on. I'm going to get into it all. But before I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news. In case you didn't know, we also do a full Beverly Hills recap every Wednesday with our co-host Lisa. So make sure you are subscribed and tune into that. Okay, I'm sorry, but I cannot go on any further without discussing this past week's episode of Traitors. If you are watching, you know how explosive last week's episode was. If you are not watching, please go to Peacock and catch up because I don't even know how to feel right now. Actually, I do know how I feel. And I feel a lot towards Danielle, who is the last remaining traitor left. And when I say, I have never had more of a visceral reaction to a reality TV star than I did Danielle at that round table. Whew. I mean, I cannot stand this woman, and she cannot win this show by any means. Let me know if you agree or not, but I don't know. There is something about Danielle that just irks me, and it's the hat. Yes, it's definitely the hat, but it's also the way she has been playing this game. Now, I am not familiar with her Big Brother lore in any way, shape, or form. I do not watch Big Brother. Apparently, she came from Big Brother and she had a rivalry with Brittany. They both came on to Traitors. I knew they were kind of going to be main characters from the start, seeing as in the first episode, we did get a lot of backstory around kind of their, tension on Big Brother. And that is finally starting to play out because, yes, Danielle did get Carolyn out at that round table. But can we talk about the moment after that happened when Danielle sunk to the floor and started hyperventilating? I mean, talk about doing too much. This was the definition of doing too much. Does she know she's playing a game and she didn't just actually murder somebody in cold blood in real life? I mean, girl, get it together. I could not with this moment, especially because she is the one telling other people to watch out for people at the round table who are loud and are, doing too much. Girl, you are the one doing too much. Sit down. I do have to give her props though for the chess challenge because she did get everybody's eyes on Carolyn. She framed her perfectly with those answers, and people definitely started to be onto her after that moment. However, and this is my theory, I think that her latest decision, recruiting Brittany, is going to come around and bite her in the ass. She thinks that they have this alliance, right? But at the end of the day, this is a game. And what I think is going to happen, just like it, I guess, happened in Big Brother from what I'm hearing, I think she's going to recruit Brittany. Brittany is going to then throw Danielle under the bus and win the game. It's too obvious of a choice. I mean, picking somebody who you have an alliance with, and they also are, onto women being the last final traitors. They're also already onto Danielle. I mean, please, if Gabby and Dylan do not act on their theory that it was traitor on traitor at the last round table, I'm going to lose my shit, guys. I cannot have Danielle win this game by any means. I think that the consensus is that Dylan and Gabby need to take it all and get those traitors out. I also wouldn't mind seeing Dolores at the end. Of course, I love my girl Dolores. And unless we forget Tom Sandoval. Now, I do not think he deserves to win this game, but he has been fun to watch, guys. I mean, you heard me last week. I was praising, him singing the lullabies. That will honestly go down in reality TV history as one of the funniest moments of all time. But let's be real, this man is already a narcissist. We cannot have him win this game because his ego will inflate to a point that we will never come back from. I mean, in the chess challenge, when he's like, oh, I'm the biggest threat to the traitors. Oh, they definitely think that that's me. He literally was voting for himself for every single question. Kate called it from a mile away. It was hilarious. And it was exactly what we expect from Sandoval. And I'm sorry, he needs to go. He needs to go. I've loved watching him, but he cannot win because he will never let us forget that. Okay, speaking of Dolores, let's jump over to some Real Housewives news because I got to talk about the casting news that dropped about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So, of course, this past week, you guys probably already know, OK Magazine, of all outlets, dropped the news that they knew who was moving forward and who was going to be fired from Real Housewives of New Jersey. Allegedly, what they said was that Rachel Fuda, Margaret, and Danielle were going to be fired. Then they said that Melissa and Dolores were going to continue on The Real Housewives and Teresa was going to get her own spinoff. They allegedly got this news from some sort of insider. Well, guess who the insider was? Kim D. Yeah, I don't think that's an insider that you really want to be listening to. And I don't think that Bravo is consulting Kim D on any casting decisions. So once the internet found that out, obviously we were like, okay, this is absolute bullshit. However, although it didn't come from a credible source, I think like part of it actually might be true because those are definitely the three that I can see returning to Bravo in some capacity. My thoughts on Teresa having a spinoff. Yes, I do think she could probably carry a spinoff, though we do know, or in case you didn't, Gia is actually going to be featured on a new spinoff called Making It in Manhattan, which focuses on some of the kids from other Real Housewives. So I feel like her spinoff would obviously be very family focused. So the fact that Gia already has a separate spinoff, I'm not sure how that would work. And also, let me just be clear on this. I do not want to follow Louis Ruelas around on TV. I honestly could go without seeing him ever again. And I feel like without Louis, does Teresa actually have the potential for a spinoff? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Louis is actually the reason why we are where we are. I feel like he is the reason that this show kind of crumbled. When he came on, that's when everything started to go downhill. Teresa and Joe's relationship went too far to the point where it could never come back. And I just think that that man does not belong on TV. Though I do have to separate Louis from Teresa because I wouldn't mind actually continuing to watch Teresa. I feel like she is the epitome of Jersey. I feel like she is entertaining to watch. I do love watching her four daughters. So I don't know. I feel like there's something there, but gosh, I really don't want Louis back. Now let's talk about Dolores and Melissa because I also kind of agree that they should return in some capacity. However, are these two women that could actually hold this franchise up alone? Obviously, they will bring newbies in, but I just don't know if they are strong enough personalities. I mean, I love Dolores, but I love her because she is kind of like the voice of reason. She doesn't really create too much drama. Obviously, she was the one going back and forth between the two tables on that season finale. So, does she have what it takes to actually hold up a franchise? I don't know. Same with Melissa Gorga. I feel like, is she main character energy? Probably not. Is Joe Gorga main character energy, though? Maybe a little bit. So I don't know if she does return. I feel like Joe will definitely be once again in the center of the drama. And I don't know. Am I kind of here for that? We do love the husbands of Jersey. They are part of what made that show so great. So maybe there's something there. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, jumping over to Potomac in some other Real Housewives news. So, in case you guys didn't know, Karen Huger's sentencing for her DUI is actually this Wednesday. We will all find out, including Karen, whether she will be facing jail time. Now, of course, this has been a topic on Potomac for this entire season, and she wasn't at the reunion because she allegedly went to rehab. Well, I think we can say that maybe she actually didn't go to rehab, but actually a spa resort, because this new article dropped on the Washington Post. And it is not only saying that, it is allegedly saying that this is Karen's fourth conviction for an alcohol related incident. Yes, four. We all thought it was the second, which is actually bad enough. Like to have two DUIs, obviously, that tells us that you have some type of problem. To have four, that is a completely different story. An excerpt from the article reads, Prosecutor Jordan Kramer is poised to offer a different view. Her filings reveal that Huger had three alcohol-related traffic cases from 2006 to 2011, which yielded a guilty finding for driving while impaired and another for driving under the influence, neither resulting in jail time. The fact that Miss Huger has repeatedly been given the benefit of another chance on three separate occasions demonstrates that she has not learned anything from her prior arrests, Kramer wrote. In fact, it appears as if she has been emboldened. Not only that, but the article also stated that the state is concerned that the program that Miss Huger did choose to enroll in equates itself to a luxury resort experience. The rehab offers equine therapy, spa services, chef prepared meals, and an organic recovery garden. Prosecutors said that they are seeking a 6-month sentence for Karen. This is not looking good for Karen by any means. I mean, not only does she have three prior convictions, she has been lying to us this entire time. She has acted like she does not have a problem, that she obviously went to trial to say that she wasn't guilty before we saw all of the videos that came out from the night of the DUI. I mean, this woman, the only way I can explain it is she is delusional. To think that you are innocent after something like that, and to also think that you don't have a problem after this is your fourth DUI, Karen, look in the mirror and realize that you have a problem. And not only we think she, is taking accountability and going to rehab, but the fact that she actually went to a spa and this actually in the court's eyes doesn't count as a rehab. I honestly, I used to love the Grand Dame. I used to stan her no matter what, but girl, you need to go behind bars. You need to get help. You need a reality check is what she needs, because if she's gotten away with this 3 other times and is now, potentially going to get off again, she's never going to learn. This woman needs to learn her lesson. I think at this point, with this new information, everybody is definitely predicting that she will do jail time. And I think she deserves to do jail time. So I don't know. We'll find out on Wednesday, but it's definitely not looking good for Karen. Okay, let's move on from Potomac and jump down to Charleston because we have some updates in the Craig and Paige saga. Now, last week I did update you on Craig's interview with Tamron Hall, but we actually didn't have the full interview just yet. That dropped last week, and he said some pretty interesting things. We do know that he denies Paige's claims that he was actually texting two other bitches during their relationship. Well, yes, he continues to deny that, but he actually has the audacity to say that Paige will take this statement back once things calm down. Excuse me? I do not see Paige doing that. And I know 2 weeks ago I said I was Team Craig. Sorry, I think I've kind of flipped and I'm on Team Paige now because I don't know. Him, one, saying that she made that up, and two, that she is going to take that back. I don't see Paige doing that. I don't see Paige going back on her word. And I also don't really see her lying about this, especially since Craig is the one that has been a known liar. I don't know, guys. Not only that, but this week's episode of Summer House also did change my mind and definitely made me lean more towards Team Paige because we had a couple confessional moments that actually made a lot of sense to me. The first of which, she kind of shares that Lindsay's pregnancy is obviously stressing her out. And she shares this timeline that honestly I can relate to. She's like, so Craig and I started dating. And within that time period, Lindsay and Carl started dating, got engaged, planned a wedding, called off the wedding, broke up. Lindsay started dating somebody else, and she's now pregnant. And Craig and Paige are still dating. Like in the 3 years, what has happened with Lindsay and Carl is another world compared to Craig and Paige. And yeah, of course, it stresses her out. It definitely puts pressure on her, seeing as she is kind of staying stagnant while others in the house are kind of moving on with her life. But then we get another moment where she basically explains, like, she is a different person than when she has first dated Craig. And I honestly love this because it shows that she is self aware. She knows that she has changed. She explains that she's gotten busier. Her career has actually skyrocketed and she's changed her mind about, wanting to settle down and have kids. I think a lot has happened for her in the past 3 years to make her question, oh, am I actually ready to do this? And I think that that's fair. It kind of seems like she has communicated this to Craig. They have kind of had these conversations, and she is aware enough to actually feel bad for Craig in this moment because of how she has changed her mind. Now, I think this says a lot for Paige, being self aware enough to know this, but also letting Craig know that she no longer feels this way. As viewers or as followers of them, we kind of think this happened all of the sudden, that all of the sudden she decided she didn't want this. Well, these confessionals kind of paint another story that she actually has been voicing this over the course of their relationship, the fact that she has changed her mind and probably is asking Craig whether he was okay with that or not. It seemed like he actually was, but at the end of the day, I think she felt, I cannot string this man along any longer. He wants something, I want something different. I think let's just, go our separate ways. Now, speaking of Paige and Craig, did you guys see the preview for this week's episode? Because this week's episode is when it all starts to go down between Kyle and Paige. And that is mainly because of the whole Craig and Kyle spritz drama. So, of course, we know that Craig invested in a competitor to Loverboy called Spritz. And of course, Kyle's going to be pissed about this, and that leaves Paige in a very precarious position. They show this text message that Paige is reading to Sierra that is supposedly Kyle basically going on this rant about Craig. Well, of course, the Bravo sleuths are going to sleuth because we're going to screenshot, we're going to sharpen, and we're going to zoom in on that footage. And the sleuths actually realize that that text is not about Craig whatsoever. Okay, it's a little about Craig, but it's actually mostly about Hannah Berner. Shout out to Face Reality 16 on Instagram who transcribed the text. It says, honestly, beyond discouraged. With Craig, too. This wouldn't be a topic today if it wasn't for him and about a dozen lies. I can't believe this is where Hannah is at 3 years later. I'm fucking apeshit. First, her telling Alex Cooper I cheated on Amanda right up until our wedding and all the pain we fucking suffered because of that podcast when it was at its peak, which I never fucking confronted you or her about. Now this, you've been with her this entire time and are now saying that you wish you stood up for her season 5. Now this, is this what you think as well? Hannah had the lowest Q rating the entire network, aka likability, just Dave Kaplan drunk and he'll tell you. Sorry to barrage you, I was just heated in the moment. Can't vent to Amanda because she basically divorced me for potentially hurting your guys' friendship with the Sprit stuff. And I don't understand how lies keep getting, and then it cuts off. So it kind of sounds like the drama that we are about to see between Paige and Kyle has less to do with Craig and more to do with Hannah. Obviously, we know that Paige and Hannah are thick as thieves. They have Giggly Squad together. Paige is going to ride for her girl. But obviously, there is still a lot of unresolved tension between Kyle and Hannah. I guess Hannah went on Alex Cooper's podcast, Call Her Daddy, and allegedly said that Kyle had been cheating on Amanda up until their wedding, which, knowing his history, doesn't surprise me. And once again, why would Hannah just make that up? She is so far removed from Summer House, like she does not need to say stuff about Summer House just to get in the news. I don't know about you, but I would actually love to see Hannah come back. And I don't even need her to come back as a full-time cast member. I just need Paige to bring her back in for one weekend to confront Kyle about this and to honestly rip him to shreds. So, this is going to be really interesting. The fact that Bravo is actually painting this all to be about Kyle versus Craig when it's actually Kyle versus Hannah. Will this come up? Will they actually talk about Hannah? I am very interested to see this all play out. Okay, now let's jump from Summer House to Southern Charm because there is stuff coming out on TikTok this week that I need to get your guys' thoughts on, and it has to do with Sienna and Shep. So, of course, the Southern Charm crew is all in the Bahamas on this week's show because Sienna is hosting a trip for them. We get these very cringe moments between Sienna and Shep. She obviously wants nothing to do with him. That text message that Shep sent Sienna, we are all lost in that we wanted to simply evaporate into the Bahamian sky when he was reading that. That was the most cringe thing I've probably ever seen on Bravo. And it kind of seems like Sienna was cringed out too because she never responded. She doesn't even acknowledge it when they talk about it on the phone. And I'm pretty sure she ghosts him for the rest of the trip. Actually, she might come back. I don't know. We'll see. But Sienna actually went on TikTok this week and is clarifying a lot of things about her relationships with Whitney and Shep. So, of course, we all know that allegedly she also matched with Whitney on Raya before Shep. Well, she did provide receipts to the point that Whitney is actually the one that direct requested her and reached out to her first. So she did not seek Whitney out. That being said, I still find it very fishy that this woman happened to connect with two reality stars on the same show that she alleges she knew nothing about. She is actually coming out and saying that she did not know Whitney and Shep were on Southern Charm, even though her grandmother was a huge fan of the show. I'm sorry, but I am not buying this for a single second. It is very clear to me what happened here. Sienna is a beautiful girl. She is also a fan of the show. Why not try to date somebody on the show so I can be featured on the show? I think whether she provides the receipts or not, I think that's exactly what happened. I think she met Shep on Raya. I think they started hanging out. I think she strung him along to the point where they started filming the season, right? Because we do see her a few times throughout the season when she comes and visits. However, they are nearing the end of the season now. She invites the whole cast basically to the Bahamas. Shep gets there. It is clear she has the ick. There is no other way to put it. And she realizes, maybe I shouldn't have led this guy on. She can go around and do all of these interviews and say whatever she needs to say. But honestly, I said what I said, and I ain't changing that. I think that this woman was in it for the show, for her 15 minutes of fame. And she is continuing to milk that on TikTok, on interviews, doing whatever she can, but leaving Shep brokenhearted in the process. And honestly, do I feel bad for Shep? Not one single bit. This is karma at its absolute finest. Like Taylor said, it is a taste of his own medicine. But still, Sienna, I see you. I see what you're doing here. Things might not be working out for Sienna and Shep, but surprisingly, it's possible that they are working out very well for Austin because he posted an Instagram story that kind of hints he might be engaged. So he's actually been dating his girlfriend, Audrey, who we saw featured on the show for over a year now. They were doing the long distance thing, but I think that might have changed actually recently because he did post this photo and note the hand in the top right corner because that is an engagement ring. It is the correct hand, it is the correct finger, and it is obviously a diamond ring. Now, nobody is tagged in this photo. This could be somebody else that they were playing a game with, but this seems intentional if you ask me. And honestly, did I ever see Austin Kroll to be the first one to settle down in this group? Not in a million years, guys. But I have to say, he is actually the voice of reason this season. I think that he seems like a changed man from when we, knew him before. It sounds like he is in a committed relationship with a normal girl who makes him happy. So if this actually is the case, I'm happy for them. I stand this. I think Austin, God bless him. Maybe he has actually changed and isn't going to be the Peter Pan that Shep Rose has turned out to be. I think we can only hope. And I am wondering if we will actually get confirmation of this soon. So that's it for this week. All of the news and updates you needed to know, and all of my unpopular opinions on them all. Do you agree with me? Do you not? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any more Bravo Breaking News.